Go.
Cheers, everyone. Welcoming Shelby Stone to the Texas Toast podcast for this episode. I've been excited about this, Shelby. You're absolutely gorgeous. You're so talented. Current streaming song is out, How Much More. But as I was doing my research and having a radio background, I so appreciate your story with your time. And I just want you to tell a story about how you actually, was it a Christmas party when you were at the ranch and you sang a song? I absolutely fell in love with that story.
Oh, yeah. Uh I did not intend to do music by all means. I need people to know that I was a nursing major
Right,
and I
right.
saved a lot of lives switching my degree. But I had just moved. I started school in Arlington, Abilene, but I had transferred to Arlington and I had a really tough transition. But because I don't know, I am gonna have to give credit to God on that divine
Mhm.
connection. But my old roommate who had also transferred, she had worked at the ranch as a promotions assistant. And I don't remember why she stopped working there, but she was like, dude, you would love this. Like, it's super easy, it's super fun. Like, just apply. And so I applied and I was working as promo assistant and I had no idea that could even be a career. That I knew radio wasn't dead by any means, but I only
Mhm.
knew DJs. Like that was the only thing I'd really understood about radio and commercial ads and things. But it was December 2019, we had our like annual Christmas party, and I was DDing for some of the DJs and some of the sales reps, and we went up to the stockyards. I now know who it is. His name's Rob Redwine and Brandon Kent, but they were playing at the basement bar, and her name's Susie Mays, and the DJ is Heather Anderson, and they thankfully knew them. Looking back, Brandon and Rob had no business to give me the chance that they did because they had no idea what was about to get on this stage. But Susie and Heather, they're like, you have got to hear this girl. Like, you've got to hear her. Like, oh my gosh. And so they let me get up there. I didn't really know how to play guitar. Also, I didn't bring one. I thought we were just hanging out. I
Mhm.
technically wasn't even old enough to be in the basement bar. But I was the DD, so they were okay with it. I sang half of Neon Moon, Casey Musgraves edition.
Mm.
Uh, and then that was it. Like I called my advisor the next week and was like, "Hey, what are the music programs that y'all have? Because I don't know music theory. I'm not classically trained. Do we have like a broadcasting program, communicate like something of that nature?" And I mean, truly, like if I hadn't worked at the ranch, I'd probably still be failing chemistry. Truthfully, but uh the my experience with the ranch really did help too because it taught me how to like look at the industry and things like that. It was really cool
Yes.
because I ended up doing my internship with them at the end of my time in college. I don't know, my senior year, but you couldn't do it
Mhm.
until your like last semester, which I thought was super dumb. But but thankfully everyone at the ranch is like a family, and so they were like, yeah man, like whenever you're ready, like just come on. And so I did the 6 a.m. morning show with Heather, and then honestly I was just mainly Heather's intern because she wears many hats up there, from social media to the some YouTube, I don't know if it's YouTube videos, but like artist interviews and all of those things. And it, God, I'm so grateful for it. It was so much fun too. Like I know that position because I've caught like a little bit of flack from it where they're like, I wonder why you're doing well. And it's like for sure, but it taught me a
Yeah.
lot and it was really
Right,
cool.
right.
So regardless
Mhm.
of anything else, I love to learn about it. I can feel myself geeking out, so I'm gonna tuck it back in for a second. But radio is, I'm obsessed with it. Everything about it. I'm so grateful for the ranch.
Yes. I know that I
Sorry, I will ramble about that one for a
Oh,
long
I
time.
no, that's fine. I love it because it's like me too. Like I loved when I would have an intern or promote because I wore many hats too. Morning show host, promotions director, public service director. So I had the promotional assistants that would come in. And then it was funny because then when like my daughter and her friends like got in high school, like when fall fair season, it was like sometimes if we needed help, I was like pulling the girls like come help. But yeah, you have to wear many hats, but there's a lot to learn. But you have I have your voice is just amazing. When I was going through just listening to how much more, listening to each other, listening to some of the other things, you definitely have something super special. And there's a lot of good stuff going on for you.
Thank you. I try really hard. So that means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. So did you now prior to so what was your like growing up? Were you did you sing a lot growing up coming from did you come from a musical family?
I did not come from a musical family at all.
Wow.
I
Wow.
and like even as I've gotten older, I've like poked and prodded at like my mom because I know my dad wasn't. My dad was a bullfighter,
Mhm.
and so I kind of grew up more in the rodeo realm than anything else. But I've kind of poked and prodded at mom. I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you just being like? Because my mom's my best friend, and she's like, I never want to take like. I never want to embarrass you or take any limelight from you or anything like that. I'm like, if you sang, and that's okay. I just need to know because people ask all the time.
Yes.
But growing up, I mean, I came out of the womb singing. But I think it wasn't until eighth grade, I want to say, with a big old question mark. I want to say beforehand, I went to a private school. I graduated with 9 people. And the thing about small Christian schools like that are attached to the church, they find out you can sing and you're going to be put on any
That's
stage.
right. That's
But
right.
my
Hmm.
mom, like they're like, perfect, we've got another one. And I'm grateful for it. Truly, I'm grateful for it. Uh, but she was working up at the church at the time, and so she scheduled a voice lesson with the lead worship pastor. Her words were, I just wanted to see if she was like actually any good at it. She was like, I'm her mom. I think she's good, but like I don't want to be that mom that's like, my kid's great and she's not great. Which I appreciate it. I appreciate the honesty. But I went into it and came out of it with a handful of other voice lessons, and the worship pastor was very, very kind. Her name is Miss Dondra. Um, and I'm super grateful for her too, because I think she has a Grammy too from some. Oh, it was a big group thing. So like outside of like worship, like she was still like a classically trained vocalist. And I'm really, really grateful for her. But then all throughout middle school and high school, and even into a little bit into college, all I ever did was just lead worship. I didn't get a guitar till my junior year of high school. I feel really bad looking back on it. I didn't realize the boy had a crush on me, but he was selling it, and I was like, dude, I'll buy it from you. And he was like, you can just have it. I was like, all right, cool. Not realizing that my bad, man, my bad. But I tried to teach myself how to play guitar. We're still figuring out, learned a lot of bad habits more than anything, but it's just all been kind of, oh, well, that worked. Oh, that was cool. Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll change my degree to this.
I did notice that you came off a big event recently in Galveston with some really awesome people. But I want to share the story about that because that's just amazing.
Dude, Texas, so music scene taping. I will be transparent. I grew up listening to the ranch. I promise this correlates. But I grew up listening to the ranch, but I also didn't have internet access for a really long time, but I did have TV access. So the only like tidbits I knew about Texas music was from the ranch and from the Texas music tapings. And
Wow.
man, I don't even remember what channel they played on or how I found them, but like I just remember if you were a big deal and like you were either a legend
Hmm.
or a household name in Texas Red Dirt music, you ended up on Texas music tapes, like or Texas music scene. Sorry, I'm not saying that right. Uh, I didn't even realize you could go to them until last year, I think. They had one at Billy Bob's, and it was Jamie Lynn Wilson, William Beckman, and originally it was supposed to be Wilder Blue, but I believe someone had gotten sick, and I unfortunately don't remember the band that replaced them. They were great, but I wasn't paying attention. I had no idea it was a $5 ticket. Are you kidding?
Wow.
Absolutely. This is so
Wow.
cool.
Yes.
Um, so so I've always just only ever been a fan. And when I got the phone call that it was like, hey, we got to go to Galveston and back. We're gonna do Texas music taping. You're with John Bauman and Sundance Head, um, and then Jomo. I know that some things had switched up there, but excuse me.
Wow. What a
I'm so
moment.
early into my career. Like truly. And everyone that's asked me like how it was, the main thing, other than just like how iconic and overwhelming and just so cool. Adam Oder is so kind. Tony Gates, they're so kind. We as humanity have got to start building buildings that are made for live music, like opera houses and
Hmm.
spaces like that are. The sound of it, the architecture of it, just oh my Lanta, that was the most beautiful building I've ever been in, let alone sang in. Like it was so cool. And the crowd too, they were so interactive. Like usually I'm usually I'm pretty familiar with like the West Texas Million Mile Stare. And I just make jokes with myself up there. But
Oh.
everyone was so interactive. And who knows, maybe it's because they knew that they were on TV, but it meant the world to me. It was incredible. And then, of course, on the way down there, I'm trying to put rollers in my hair in the car, and I hear that my song hit number one. And so being able to just like tie
Yes.
all of that together, I cried in the shower about it last night. It was just,
Oh.
it was so freaking cool. Like, and one thing that was really, really cool, her name's Jess. She was working hospitality for the event. Um, I met her when I was working as a promo girl back in 2019. And she was like, "Holy crap, look at us. Look at where we are."
Wow.
It's like this is truly so insane. I still haven't really quite found the words for I've only been doing music for 4 years. What am I doing here? Like, what? I feel like I should probably have some more dues to pay before I get to come do something like this. So I'm so honored that they invited me to come do that. It was so cool. I don't know how to describe it really.
Well, I think you were a great choice, and I'm so happy that you got to do that. And wow, this I had no idea that you used to. I do DVR every episode. So, do you know when that will be coming out?
Nice. I have no idea.
Okay,
Truthfully,
well, I got my
I've been meaning
DVR
to
set.
ask.
I'll look in it. I'll check it.
Perfect. That's because I want to know too. Like that vocally and as a band, that was honestly like one of the best performances we ever had too. Which thank God, because I know some people crack under pressure, but I've got a great band. Just a veterans. Um, that oh, man, and I don't know if it was the band sounding good or if it was the building, but I want to hear it. And I got my iconic Todd Purefoy. Though I mean, every Texas red dirt legend has a photo from him. Like I being able to kind of put a name to like, oh, you're the guy. Holy crap, that's really cool. So like, and everyone up there was so kind. Adam Oder is so good at what he does. I already messaged him like, hey, once this baby gets here, I'm making a trip to West Texas. That's all right. I It's just such a cool community that I'm so happy I get to sit at the lunch table with them.
Yes, that's an awesome comparison. I feel the same way sitting from this side, being in the industry and doing the podcast, because the Texas Country Red Dirt family is a family. Like it's just like there's bonds I have and friendships that I have that will never go away. They're still new and developed. And it's just, yeah, there's definitely a bond. I want to talk about your streaming single, How Much More, and talk about your studio work, studio time. What do you have coming up? Well, let's just talk about starting it out, going in and recording for you.
So, recording wise, we've got a really cool like situation, I guess you could say. Um, and it was okay. I guess I can't put a sentence together. Um,
You're
Dalton
good.
Domino knows a gentleman named
Mhm.
PH Nafa and Jeff Lusby and a man named Al Pappas, and they all live out in Tempe, Arizona. And it's kind of this like little to chalk it up to just a studio in a man's house is so disrespectful, like and completely undermining how cool his home is. And it is so I'm so honored that he opens up his home to let musicians come in and record. But I do believe he used to work in Nashville. He purchased a lot of equipment from like 16 ton out there. So like it's more than just like a Focusrite in a SM7B. Like it's a full studio. Um, and the first time we went out there was in May of 20, yeah, May of 23. Um, and I had no idea. I took 4 voice memos in there and was like, here you go.
Yeah.
Do what you do best.
Have you ever wondered how artists like Treaty Oak Revival, Red Clay Strays, and Aaron Watson maintain the high quality and high demand for their merchandise? CH Lone Star Promo is the answer. Created in Texas to serve Texas artists, and they're currently offering 15% off on all merch orders from musicians. Visit chlonestarpromo.com to get started and tell them Texas Toast sent you.
I was reading the other day that it takes at least $1 million to break an artist. That's a ton of change, and it can feel overwhelming. But with social media leveling the playing field, you just need an effective strategy to release your music. Check out Release Rocket to ensure your single does not die after release day. You've already put time, effort, and tons of money into writing and recording your album. Let the guys at Release Rocket keep your new release alive.
I have a degree and it's in music business industries, but majority of it was in audio production. But the caveat with that was they would never hire a vocalist. And they'd be like, "Oh, Shelby, you can sing. Will you just hop in the booth while we work the board?" And so then I never actually get to work the board.
Mhm.
Um, and I should have put my foot down a little bit more, but at the same time, group projects are my worst nightmare. So, but going in there, I let Jeff, PH, and Dalton just kind of have free reign. Nick Scropos too, he plays bass. For PH and Nick play for Roger Klein and the Peacemakers, or they were the reference beforehand, I believe. Incredibly kind camp. Love them to death. But I gave them the reins. And if I didn't like something, there was obviously the freedom to be like, not obsessed with that, but I also trust them. And they've been doing this for a little bit longer than I have. Um, and that was when we originally recorded How Much More in Each Other, along with two others that we've gotten a queue to come out eventually. That I'm so proud of. I don't know. I don't have kids. I don't plan on having kids for a real long time, but I think a lot of it is like your firstborn, where you're like, look
Yes,
what I did.
yes, yes.
Uh, I probably should have disinfected the pacifier a few more times than I did, but look what I did. Um, but the fact that Jordan Nix was I have no shame in taking cuts. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I believe in songwriters. Not everyone gets to be the stadium
Mhm.
touring artist, but there's so many songwriters and so many songs that just kind of get missed without being able to take cuts. I refuse to let pride get in the way of a good song. Just because I didn't write it. Ugh. I did cover acts forever. What's the difference now? And plus, Jordan Nix is my friend. And before he was my friend, I was a huge fan. Huge, huge fan. Um, so when he texted me the like voice memo of it, he was like, "Hey, I just finished this. Do you want it?" I listened to like 15 seconds of that song and was like, "Absolutely. Thank you so much. Uh, this is great." And so once we like finished recording and all of those things, he was like, "This is $1 million song if you go and get it. But if I sing it, it's only like a $34 song." Which, that's fine. In my opinion, it's $1 million song if he sings it. But the fact that he trusted me to put it out, and I'm just so honored. With all of the really cool things that have been happening with the song here recently, I've got to figure out the words for it, but I still haven't found the words for how like grateful I am with how well this song's done. But like studio time, to answer the question originally, it was great. It was really cool.
Sounds like it. Yes. Sounds like that is kind of like your environment. Like you thrive in that. It sounds like to me because you just lit up talking about it.
It's so fun. Like I really do have the coolest job in the world. And a part of it that is cool is I could have my hand in everything or I could have my hand
Mhm.
in only one thing. Uh, I love looking at like how the market's doing. I love doing studio stuff. I'm a studio intern for Melody Mountain Studios. So for interning under Ben Hussey, who also plays bass for me. I pulled his ass out of retirement. But it's just so cool. I think honestly all it chalks up to is I really love to learn. And in the studio, you can learn as much or as little as you want. I was told the other day that I know just enough not to be helpful, so I'm determined to change that.
Mhm.
But it is what it is. And so I'll take all my notes, I'll watch all the YouTube videos, and I'll sit in the corner and keep my mouth shut while I learn.
Awesome. You have such a sweet spirit and such a great attitude. So, any upcoming digital releases or anything like music projects planned?
Yeah. Next Wednesday, August 28th. Yeah, August 28th. We're putting out Easy Tiger. I wrote Easy Tiger with Jordan Nix and Travis
Sweet.
Roberts out of Amarillo. It is completely different. I wear a lot of leather for how much synth is in this song, and I think that's really fun. Um, it's just I think it not to write the song of the summer. It's a really great end of summer song. It's so much fun. I'm so excited for it. It's just different. It's something completely different, and I think thankfully for where I'm at in my career, I can put out whatever kind of sound I want because no one really knows who I am yet. But they're figuring it out. But
Oh yes.
man, I
Oh
have cool
yes.
hair. There's not really
I love your
there's
hair.
no like
It just is.
thanks.
I was gonna talk about your hair. I love it. I have some friends that do that, and like I would so love to do the purple, but I'm just not brave enough. But oh, it's just beautiful. You're just beautiful inside and out. Period.
Thank you. Thanks.
So
The blue
yeah.
was an
So
accident.
was it really?
Yeah. I the way I did the blue was an accident, I think is a better way to say it. I was only trying to do like the under pieces blue, just that way, like
Mhm.
when I curled it, it was kind of a thing. Um, and I really like a good blue black, like when the sun shines on it and you're like, oh my God, it's actually blue.
Mhm.
Uh, but there was a healthy amount of box dye on it. And I'm notorious for waiting till last minute to do things. Uh, it was the day before we had to go down to Kerrville for a private party and some acoustic tapings. And whatever I put on my hair, all it did was just give me bright yellow roots, and I couldn't go back. It left the black there, and all I had was hot roots. And so I just put blue on it, like I think 3 or 4 times. I stayed up until like 3 in the morning trying to do it because we were gonna leave at like 9 a.m. the next day. I was
No.
like, all right, well, we're gonna do this. And I didn't want to touch up the black because it was just gonna like bleed everywhere. And so just as it grows out, I just keep doing more and more blue. I'm attached to my hair. It's very thick. That's why I
Mhm.
keep it short. Because I was a cheerleader for a long time, so I did a lot of damage to my hair and like all the teasing and BS that you had to do
Yes.
there. It's just too heavy. So I cut it all off, and that's been real short before where it's like, oh, cool, we are not going that short again. But it's never it grows back, like thankfully. And same with the blue. If I get tired of it, I'll just throw some black dye on it. And I thankfully have a hair girl that will take every dime of mine to fix it. And she doesn't make me feel bad about it.
That's a good thing. Good thing. So upcoming shows coming up for you.
Right now, just we got some private stuff coming up.
Mhm.
The big one that I'm really, really excited for, because I think it's sold out already. I think it sold out like 2 months ago. Uh, speaking of legends and things, I get to open for Ray Wiley Hubbard in Dallas.
Wowza.
I think yeah, it's at the Granada. Uh, hello, it's Ray Wiley Hubbard. I'm truly so excited. I thankfully we're just hitting it acoustic. I'm just gonna bring my guitar player and go hang out, and it's Ray Wiley Hubbard.
It's exciting.
I'm so
That's
excited.
exciting. Well, didn't I also see you did some shows with Caitlin Butts?
I did, I did.
That's I bet I would have
Back in
loved to have been
May,
there for I would have loved to have been there for that. I bet that was awesome.
Caitlin she's like I've got my monitors up here and like my wallpaper is like my vision board, and one of the artists on this vision board was to like open up for Caitlin.
Hmm.
And the fact that we got to do it this year was nuts. She finally followed me back on Instagram, and it was so cool. Uh, ever since I started playing music, she was one of the first female artists that I was like, that's what I want to do. That's how I want to carry myself. She looks like she's having so much fun. I want to do that. Um, back in 2021, I actually got to open for in Granbury. It's called Bob's Off the Square, but there's a photo of me crying somewhere on my phone saying like I get to open for Caitlin Butts. I didn't have a pot to piss in, had no business opening for her. And she was so kind then. And I remember I was tagging her a whole bunch because I think I had like 600 followers on Instagram. And I messaged her and I was like, I'm so sorry for like spamming you with like tagging you this many times. Your name just holds a little bit more weight than mine does. And she was like, never apologize for promoting your shows. You are so fine. Don't apologize for that. And just She's consistently been kind and badass. She doesn't take bullshit. She can still be super feminine and kick ass and take names. When we opened for her in May, my entire band bought black merch from her and then wore it during the show. So it just looked like a little fan club of Caitlin opening for her. It was so, I'm so grateful for it. It was amazing.
So tell me a little bit about your band, some of the people that are in your band.
I have a great band. I love them so much. Because we don't play a ton, you'll probably find them in other bands here or there.
Mhm.
But my drummer, thankfully, he is brand new to the Texas scene. So some of my other band members, he had no idea we're all kind of like Texas legend songwriters. But his name's Ryan Brightman. He's out of College Station. And then Clay Spidell, he used to be in Slade Coulter's band, but when he moved up to Fort Worth, he needed a new front man. So I was able to pick him up. I love Clay. Clay's the best. He has better hair than I ever will. Um, and then Ben Hussey, which Ben Hussey has played for everyone and their mom. He is Texas legend. Uh, and I really am so grateful to have him in my band because there's been a lot of times where I'm like, hey, how does this like normally work? Because if we've got like time to kill because the headlining band is running an hour over in sound check, do you think I could go do my makeup? Because I don't want to be a girl on the road, but I still have to be a girl on the road. And thankfully he's super practical and like a very like anchored in I know what I'm doing. This is great. And then Dalton Domino will occasionally come up and
Mhm.
play for me.
Wow.
He's kind of my auxiliary player. Depending on like what I need, he'll either play like lead guitar or rhythm or keys. If my bass player's out, he'll play bass for me. It's I'm so grateful for him. Like truly, he hates when I say it, but if it was not for Dalton, I would not be where I am.
Mhm.
Uh, because all I ever wanted, like as soon as I started playing shows, you can find tweets of it back in like 2021 and 2022, where I just needed someone to tell me what to do. I'll do it. I'll do it to the best of my abilities, but I don't know what to do. If not, I'm going to be stuck playing the barbecue joint route, and I don't like barbecue, and I know that is not Texan. I know, but I just like I wanted to see growth. I wanted to take the next step, but I didn't know what it was
Mhm.
because that was the hard thing with my degree. We're talking about like Universal and Sony like record deals. Yes, it is good to know that, but not for where I was at in my career. It that wasn't going to help me by any means. They don't care who I am. I had never even been to Nashville at that point. Um, but finally, Jacob Stelly A&R'd my introduction with Dalton, and he had me come down to College Station. He was like, "Let's just figure it out. Let's see. Like, kind of, I want to get to know you. You can get to know me. We can see if this is something that's gonna work." And then he was like, "And the next day, you can write with Jordan Nix and I," which I cried about. I was so honored. Like, what? Like looking back, it's like who? Because I didn't start writing songs until 2021, end of it,
Mhm.
I believe. So like, I had no idea what I was doing, but the first time like I sat down and played for Dalton, he was like, "Cool, you have a great voice. You play guitar really poorly. You need to get guitar lessons." And that's all I need. Like
You just
that was
needed
just like the
yes.
first indication of like someone that tells me because I had met too many people that were like, "Man, you're really good. I don't know why you're not farther along." Me neither. So like I don't know. And so finally just like a single piece of instruction going, "Okay, go get guitar lessons." Perfect.
Mhm. Mhm.
I absolutely will. And he's the only person that's ever followed through. I've been falsely promised a lot, and he's the only person that's like, okay, we're going to work towards this. It might not happen, but let's work towards this, and this is how we're going to do it. And so the fact that not only is he my manager and mentor,
I can occasionally get him to come play in my band.
I love
It's
it. I
awesome.
absolutely love it. You're just like a sponge. You're just soaking it in and improving. I can tell you're like one of those goal setters, and like we're going to have a plan for this. So it has just been an absolute pleasure with our visit here on the podcast today. And I know that we're going to be seeing a lot more from you and hearing a lot more from you. And I'm excited about that. I'll be following along. And so everybody, if you're not following Shelby Stone, start following along. And I can't wait to like maybe like 8, 10 months from now, see what's going on, have you back on the podcast. And I bet you'll have like amazing stories to tell. So, oh, you just keep doing what you're doing. You are beautiful inside and out. And I am so honored that we got to have you on the podcast and I got to get to know you. So thank you so much, Shelby.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me. This is so cool.